I want to talk about the base of email marketing. Okay. So in the other videos that all of you watched, which by the way, I'm proud of all of you for doing that work. We talked about the lighthouse. We talked about the avatar. We talked about the customer journey. Okay. And we also talked about commitment, but that's an that's an understanding. If you're going to do this, you have to be committed. So when we think about email marketing, the reason that we use the lighthouse is brand congruency. Okay. So as you've built your lighthouse, you have your why, your what, your how, and your who. And so the reason that's so important is because in email marketing, everything that you do, everything that you send out has to fall under your what and your how, right? So if you are used to emailing recipes and you're emailing recipes and you're emailing recipes and your lighthouse is we empower people to live through healthy food and boom, 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 and boom, boom, boom. And an affiliate offer comes along the table or a new product launch comes along the table for a supplement and you've never talked about supplements, it's going to be incongruent and it's not going to work. Guaranteed it's not going to work, right? And so when we think about it, the lighthouse is your protective measure. Now in companies, we have mission statements, we have vision statements. Basically, they're pretty wall art that nobody ever looks at and never uses in their business. The lighthouse is kind of your guiding principle for yourself and your customers to make sure that everything you're doing is congruent and on brand. Now, there's some nuances to that. And if everybody could just do me a favor and mute yourself, that would be amazing. I did it too. So when we think about that, there's a lot of nuance to that. Now, obviously, there's different pillars in the business. I'm not going to say that if you email recipes, you can't email an affiliate offer or you can't sell a supplement for the first time. But what you can't do is send one email and expect somebody to take an entire journey in that one email and convert. It'll kill your list. It'll kill your engagement with them. And it'll basically break your relationship, right? So your lighthouse that you drew when it comes to email is almost like your guiding light. So it's your checklist and your principles. So for me, when I'm writing emails or when I'm teaching companies, I'm like, what's your lighthouse? And the first thing I build with companies is their lighthouse because I need to know their what and they need to know their what. And I kind of have this check that I use for email, social media, paid media. And I ask myself, like, is this on brand? Is this helping me learn or serve my customers? Is this a part of my lighthouse? Is this a touch point within the ecosystem or is it out? And if it's out, I don't do it at all because it's incongruent and that's like broken window syndrome. So if we start sending things that aren't in our lighthouse or a little bit gray area, what we're really doing is we're starting to abuse our relationship with our customers and we're starting to lose their trust because we set a paradigm or we set a context of a relationship. So I'll give you an example. We had a question about giveaways and re-engagement on lists, right? So let's say you've built an email list doing free stuff and free giveaways. The context of that person's relationship, i.e., the marriage that we have entered into, is like, hey, I agree to be your husband and you agree to be my wife. And anytime you show up in my world, it's because I'm offering to give you something for free. You're basically like, I only want to talk to you if you're going to give me free stuff, if you're going to give me stuff, if you're going to give me a chance to win something, right? That's the context of our relationship. That's how we founded our relationship via email. And so in that, we have to be very, very present that if we deviate from that, we need to renegotiate our relationship. Just like if somebody comes into our email list and we're doing a JV partnership and we're like, hey, anytime you sign up for these emails or this partnership, we're only going to be emailing you about boom, boom, and boom. And then we know that JV window closes, that deal goes, it was some non-evergreen promo, but you keep a copy of the email list. And what do most people do? You add them to your email list and you start engaging them with content. You basically said, hey, we're going to get married. And then once this relationship exists without telling you, I'm going to give you to a different spouse, i.e. an affiliate, i.e. a joint venture partnership, i.e. something along those lines without renegotiating the relationship. Same thing if somebody comes in and they come into one of your ecosystems or one of your brands or one of your companies, and let's say you own multiple companies, they come in and they buy a supplement from you, and you're like, I own a fitness company as well. They're probably interested in the same thing. That will never work because the context of that relationship, i.e. the contract that was created, is broken without being renegotiated. Now, legally, with GDPR and with compliance and the CAN Spam Act, if somebody opts in for something, i.e. like, hey, I'm signing up to this newsletter to get X, Y, and Z under X, Y, and Z company, and we move them to another ecosystem or to a different brand, it's against the law. And it's against all these violations and legal things that attorneys get mad at us for. Another side of it is that if somebody comes into our email list, and I see this all the time, and I'm going to hit a little bit of legal jargon here because we're talking about upper level email. I see this all the time. I was going through my inbox today and I got an email from an email marketer. And I was like, God, I haven't seen this guy's content in like 3 years. Why do I have an email in my inbox? And I start scrolling through and it looks like a normal email, like it just came out. And I haven't gotten one email. I searched my inbox, nothing, which means that person found an old copy of their list or something I had opted into years ago, put me back on the list without my permission and emailed me. Now, if somebody hasn't engaged with your email, now this is the only legal part I know without my attorneys. If somebody hasn't engaged with your emails in 180 days, it is illegal based on the Can-Spam Act to email them again without getting their explicit permission to re-opt into your email. I.e., if you run a company and a business and you have been building an email list through giveaways or on the bottom of your website where you have that awesome, non-valuable, kill your relationship with your customers form that says, please join my newsletter with no value exchange. And they come in and they never get an email. They don't get an automated email. They don't get a welcome to the family email. And it's been 180 days. You legally, technically cannot email them again without sending them an email and asking their permission to basically click a link trigger and ask to be emailed again. Okay. And so when we think about our lighthouse and we think about our customer, the purpose of our lighthouse is to make sure that we're negotiating the right relationship when it comes to our customers and our email list, okay? Now, within your lighthouse, you have your who, and we cover that, right? Imagine there's a lighthouse here, and I'm not going to draw it again, right? But we had in the bottom of your lighthouse, we had the why, then we had the what, then we had the how, and we had the who. Now, the who of your lighthouse is your avatar. It's your customer. And like I said in the lighthouse training and the avatar training, it is not a 35-year-old mom of two that drives a gray minivan that goes to soccer practice. I could give two craps about any of that stuff, right? In our world, it's the woman who wants to find empowerment through loving herself again in Roxelle's world. Or in Jason's world, it's the CrossFitter who wants to add longevity to their life and wants to be functionally fit so they can play with their grandkids, right? None of that has to do with their median income or anything, right? What our avatar sheet gives us, the one that you worked on, remember there were 5 columns. There was the before, objections, after, ask, and modality. What that gives us is that gives us basically the dictionary or the language that our customers speak and allows us to figure out how to communicate with them, okay? So when it comes to email marketing, my favorite thing is, I always say this, I've never hired a copywriter. I just copy and paste what my customers say. And that's how I write email. That's how I write sales pages. That's how I write products. It's basically, I pay attention to my customers on their emails, on our social media, in surveys, anywhere that I can find them, Amazon reviews, questions that they send in. And I look for the specific language patterns, like the words that they're using, how they're using them, the context of how they're using them, what they say their objections are, right? So I'll give you an example. We all know that, like, if I own a supplement company and I'm selling, said supplement, it's going to be used for a dude to get bigger, right? If I'm selling a supplement or like a mass gainer, I'm going to sell this supplement and men are going to take it because they need an excess amount of calories and they want to put on muscle. But if I write an email to them and I'm like, hey, I'm so excited that you're excited to gain mass on your body, that's not going to resonate with them because that's not the language that they would use, right? And so what it ends up looking like is you're like, God, I know this is my customer and he knows that I have the solution and we're talking about the same thing, but we're speaking 2 different languages. He's speaking French and I'm speaking English because we are like, we want you to gain mass. And he's like, I want to put on 10 pounds. I want to be heavier. I want to look more full in the mirror. I want to look cut. And it's our job to be in a deep enough relationship with our customers that we know that language and we can speak it to them. Because trust with our customers doesn't come from having all the answers or that one time with that one email being able to hit the wicket. It comes from the entire pre-existing relationship that we've built with our customers, okay? That's every touch point, from the Facebook ad to the social media post to the influencer that handed it over, that have all been evidence that they've collected in that customer journey that we covered. When they come into the ecosystem, that is what has given them the context of the relationship. And so all of those touch points are very, very important. So when we think about email marketing, what's the power of our lighthouse, our avatar sheet, and understanding the customer journey? It's knowing that the success of our email doesn't start when we hit them in their inbox. It starts the first time that they ever came into contact with our brand, however long ago that was or however short ago that was. Which means like the moment that they see our brand, it's a Facebook ad. That first Facebook ad that they see, or that podcast episode that they listen to, or that affiliate that emailed out about us, is actually setting the context. It's almost like a blind date, and it's giving them a viewpoint of how they're going to view this relationship. And so congruency matters on a level that I can't get across to you hard enough and deep enough when it comes to building a successful company. Because if you launch your emails and if you start sending emails with a broken paradigm or a bad relationship from the start, there is no way to recover it, and it will have massive negative implications for your company. Now, I'm going to cover that in later in the call, like the email scores, deliverability, and all of those pieces. But it starts by understanding that everything you do, not just when they hit your homepage and they see your lead magnet, or not when they buy your product and they get that fulfillment email, it's everything that led up to it has to do with the success of your email. Now, to this day, and I mean to this day, in 2019, I still have email campaigns that go out to cold traffic over 15, 20, 30,000 people and get 60+% open rates and 30+% click-through rates. To this day, like when everybody says email is broken, email is not broken. They just suck at being in relationships. And when you can understand that game, you can start to realize that that email list and the success of that email came way before that they ever got that email. And so it's important to know what your lighthouse is so you know why you're doing it, and that's for you. But from the what up, it's that you're congruent and everything that you're giving people fits into that what with those modalities and who it's supposed to be for. And then you can speak the language of your avatar. You understand the language that they're speaking: French, English, Spanish, whatever it is for you. Weight loss, empowerment, CrossFit, B2B affiliates, sales, marketing, it doesn't matter. We just have to be able to speak their language.